Clapping. Clap. We don't need to do that for this. We're going right in.
So I'm Josh Light with PoliticIt.com. I'm here with Matt Munson. Matt, you want to talk about what's going on in District 2 right now?
Sure. Well, this is certainly more dramatic than anything I've ever been involved with, or even seen for that matter. You know, we had some drama in the first ballot. All of the candidates were able to introduce themselves, and they each had 6 minutes in which to do so. And in the last speech made by Milton Hanks, I believe is what his name was, who seems like a really nice old guy to me. He's the mayor of a small town, I think Eureka, I think. But he stood up and he named some names and just had mentioned that he'd been approached by some of the other candidates and named names, namely Sherilyn Eager, Chuck Williams, Dave Clark, and Howard Wallach. I think were the only 4 or 5 that he named. And he just indicated that he'd been approached by them and asked if he wanted to join the coalition, the ABC coalition, which would be anybody but Chris. And certainly that, you know, roused emotions within the room. And there were some folks that clapped and some that booed, but certainly it changed the tone of the meeting. I mean, I think a lot of people were getting tired. We'd been in there for an hour listening to 10 of the candidates to that point at 6 minutes apiece. And so afterwards, I went up and approached those candidates that were named. I just said, "Tell me, is there any validity here?" And 3 of them told me to a T. I mean, they all kind of cited the same instances. They mentioned that Chris Stewart had never helped him pick up signs or set up booths, and that he'd always gotten his campaign there before an event and plastered the whole place, so they had no place to put up their signs, and that therefore they were really upset with Chris. And I just told each of them, I just said, that really kind of, to be honest with you, supports what Mr. Hanks had said, that you guys kind of all thought Chris was not a good guy. And they said, well, you know, it's not that we don't think he's a good guy, he just did these things. And I just said, well, but you just told me why you didn't like him. And, you know, at the end of the day, I told him, I said, at the end of the day, we'll kind of find out if what has happened, you know, what he said was true, because Mr. Hanks is either the biggest liar I've ever seen, or he's the bravest man I've ever seen with my own eyes. I don't know of another person who would have stood up there and called out a bunch of congressional delegates by name. You know, I have no reason to believe what he said or to not believe what he said, but I said we'll be able to tell if what he said is true if, in fact, a bunch of the other candidates coalesce behind another one. And to be honest with you, I was really, really disappointed that so many of them in the second round got up and just flat out dropped out of the race and had their Dave Clark pins on. I don't have anything against Representative Clark, Dave Clark. I think he's a great guy. But if I were working on the Wallach campaign or had donated to the Wallach campaign or to the Williams campaign or to the Eager campaign, I would be really upset that my candidate just hopped out of the race before being eliminated. I don't think that's in the best interest of the process. But certainly it involved, you know, it wrapped a whole bunch more drama into this situation. We'll kind of see what happened. But I just recently, you know, just a couple minutes ago, talking to one of the candidates, and I was personally assaulted by you know, someone employed by one of the campaigns and told that I'm a moron. You know, that kind of stuff just doesn't play well in politics. And you know, I haven't called anybody a moron. I haven't called anybody a liar. I just said the evidence. What Mr. Hanks said would happen, it's happened. It happened today. I mean, all of them got up behind Dave Clark, which is kind of what he said was going to happen. And that's really unfortunate because there again, I think the people of Utah at the end of the day are the losers when we have this kind of drama unfold with our political process.
So how long have you been involved in the political game?
Well, I was a political science major. I've liked politics since I was probably in 7th or 8th grade. I remember in high school, my friends would make fun of me because I would watch C-SPAN and other shows, you know, concerning politics. When I went to college, I had a mentor who told me to do what I loved, you know, as far as a major, and political science is really what I love. And I love politics, but I don't like politicians. And so, you know, I tip my hat to anybody that runs for any kind of office, because what you're subjected to as a politician in our country today, I just can't imagine who would want to go do that. And you know, so I tip my hat to all the candidates, and even in the congressional race. I don't have anything against any of these candidates that we've spoken about, but really, when you pile up the circumstantial evidence, it's pretty telling that, you know, it supports what Mr. Hanks said, you know, said happened. You know, if nobody had gotten up and supported whoever, you know, and every candidate had just by one dropped out, and then, you know, on their own merits they did whatever, Mr. Hanks would have completely been discredited. But because of what happened and how it happened, you know, the evidence seems to support where we're at there. So anyway, that's my take. You get what you pay for, and that's my take there. So,
well, thanks, Matt.
Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate your work.